Welcome, Rawheads. This is Jesse with another episode of Raw and Roasted. Now, I am here with an extremely awesome guest, guys. You guys might have known him from Team Backpack back in the day. That's how I heard of him and started listening to a lot of his music. But EMoney from California is here with us today. Give it up for EMoney.
Let's go, baby. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
I just appreciate all my days just like in this one bedroom apartment by myself, and I forget that I actually am existing. So I just did this podcast because you seem like a very nice guy, and also I just needed to remind myself, like, just to be reminded how to have a conversation, because when you work from home and you're alone all the time, you need this stuff. So I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you again taking the time to be on the podcast and everything, especially with everything you got going on. I wanted to just go and dive right into the questions because I do have a bit of questions that I wanted to ask you because I've been a fan for at least like the last 8 years and stuff like that. So I've been constantly listening to music and seeing what's coming out and new stuff.
Cool.
Which I got it right here. So one of the first things that I wanted to ask you, because it's been clicking in my brain ever since I heard it. Yeah. But back, I don't know when it was. I think it was in 2018 or 2017, somewhere around there. You did a Team Backpack freestyle where you talked about, in the beginning, you talked about the fact that you just got a job promotion and that you didn't really need to do this. What job promotion were you talking about?
Well, it was Employee of the Month. So I was working at a restaurant called Hot Monk Tavern, and it was literally the day before I left to LA to film that cypher. It said Employee of the Month, and I wasn't really feeling. I was really nervous about that cypher, but just seeing Employee of the Month with my name on it, I was like, whether or not the cypher goes well, I'm going to go back to a restaurant where they respect me. And they love my work. So yeah, it was a restaurant. It wasn't, I think they just gave it to me because they knew how nervous I was for the cypher. Cause like I was practicing, like my work was suffering because I was just practicing my verse the entire time. I was like spitting it to customers, and they just knew that I was like an emotional wreck because the week before Team Backpack Cyphers, I was always an emotional wreck. It was just, I cut off all my friends.
Imagine.
Rewrite a million times. You only get one take. And if you screw up that one verse, then everyone on the internet is going to say EMoney fell off. Don't bring him back to another cipher. And any cipher could be your last cipher. So that's kind of the backstory of the Employee of the Month rant I went on.
So, and with Team Backpack, like, how did you get into that? Because I don't think a lot of people know like the routes of like how you ended up into that, or how a lot of people get into that and stuff like that.
So you know how like basically I was like living in San Francisco. I was a sophomore in college, and I was just like making music in my dorm room. And this is like the last year that MySpace was relevant, or it was like my freshman year of college, 2009, the last year anyone gave a crap about MySpace. And I had some music on MySpace, and MySpace had this really cool feature where like you could search artists within like a 5-mile, 10-mile radius of where your computer is. So some dude by the name of Young Mar, who was in Hunters Point, that's a neighborhood in San Francisco, that's where Team Backpack started. He found my music. He was like, yo, let's work. We did a song together. And then he got recruited. He was like friends with the Team Backpack guys. So he was like one of the original members. He played him, the song that we did together. And they're like, whoa, who is that guy spitting that verse? And he was like, that's my boy EMoney. And he's white. And they're like, oh my God, we need a white boy. We need to tap into the suburbs. So being white, I used to think it like held me back in the rap game, but that was a moment where being white actually worked to my advantage.
You were a shining light for us white folk. All right. You were a shining light.
I was the OG DEI hire of Team Backpack. So, and I was lucky enough that like when when they invited me to the first cipher, that was the second cipher ever that they ever recorded. They were doing it in black and white. They had one camera. You could watch the original ciphers. They didn't know how to focus. Like, they were all out of focus. But it was just raw and authentic. And I think that's what like grabbed people, you know, because like the first cipher that went semi-viral was the one with me, Jedi, Shark, Sinatra, where I was like, I drop bars, they drop bars of soap. That cipher was completely out of focus, but like just the reactions in the background to us rapping and like that type of content is always ranked supreme just because of the raw authenticity of it. So that's kind of like, yeah, those are like the early days, 2010, very fond memories of those first Team Backpack ciphers.
And how many people are usually at these ciphers, like watching and stuff like that?
So in the beginning, like the first cipher I went to, there were like 30 people there. No one even knew what it was. It was just like every friend brought like 4 of their friends. And, you know, then every cipher after that first one grew by like doubled in size to the point where we couldn't even do it at the warehouse anymore. We had to start, you know, renting out clubs, and we had to start throwing like big shows. And then in San Francisco, Team Backpack was cracking. So like anytime there was a Team Backpack cipher, there would be a line out the door. And that's when like I felt like a local celebrity because I got to cut the line and people in line, oh, that's the guy who said fruity soda cherry pop. That's the dude. You know, so then yeah, so it was crazy. And then like we couldn't even do them in the Bay Area anymore. Then we had to do them in LA. Then we did them in New York. And then people came from all over the freaking world to either be there or just to compete for a spot in a cipher. So I was lucky enough that like I was kind of like grandfathered in, because if I was a guy who just like auditioned online, I don't know if I would have been selected because it was so competitive. Like there were thousands of people vying for 8 spots, you know?
Wow.
It was just, I mean, I can't wait for the documentary about Team Backpack, because like the amount of shit that like no one saw behind the scenes that went into the creation of Team Backpack. Here, I'm kind of glitching here, so I'm going to close up. I have like a million.
Don't worry about it if you see that your face is glitching out. So the way that my software works is it downloads on a local software, or a local server. So it's not gonna, what you see is not the finished copy. It's gonna be HD. Yeah.
Good to know. I'm just gonna stop looking at my face. I probably should stop looking at my face because I was like,
yeah, I gotta stop doing that too. That's why I'm trying to just look at the camera.
Yeah.
But with Team Backpack and everything, because I did see that I'm going to say probably a few years ago now, because it was when Token was just popping off. You and Token did one together, which was fucking amazing.
Oh, man. That was wild.
What was it like? One like meeting Token like up in person and stuff like that. And, like, what is he like? Is he the same up like behind the camera as in front of camera? Like,
I mean, yeah, Token, before Token blew up, like he like looked up to guys like me, Avi, Flawless, 6 Seconds, Catalyst. He even did like a song with us where like he messaged all of us and he was like, yo, I'm a big fan. I've been watching you for years. I would be honored to do a song with you. And this is when Token had like just a few videos that were kind of popping off on YouTube. But he was like just this 15, 16-year-old like little bro to all of us, you know? And then it was no surprise that Token blew up. It was like, I remember the 2015 year, that's when like he started to have a little bit of buzz. And then he like was competing for a spot on Team Backpack. Yeah, I don't even know if he was in the cipher, but then the year after, like from 2015 to 2016, in 2016, he was the biggest name at the cipher. Like he was everywhere. Tech9 was co-signing him. T-Pain posted his shit. Like, so the fact that like they chose me to do a bar fight cipher with Token, that's probably the nicest thing Team Backpack ever did, because that guy, like I have fans to this day that are like, I found you through the Team Backpack bar fight cipher. So, but yeah, in person, Token's just like, he's just like that, you know, just that little brother who's super eager, who always wants to play in the basketball game. You know, got so much energy. And it was, talk about someone who really worked his ass off and earned where he is right now. I mean, this guy in 15, 16 years old, he's doing his high school homework, and then he's coordinating a song with, you know, 5 Team Backpack rappers, getting all of our verses. The guy, it's just another level of work ethic with him. So he deserves it.
I mean, I can majority of his music I love. I mean, there's some songs here and there, you know, like they're not for everybody and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
when I first saw him on Sway, that was when I mean
Oh,
that's when a majority of people first saw him or
yeah,
whatever. But I knew as soon as I saw that, I was like, this guy's gonna be around for a while, and his name's not going away.
exactly.
Um, but one of my favorite um like pieces of music that you do is with Ty Verdes.
Oh, hell yeah.
You and Ty Verdes work so fucking well together. I can't explain it, but your guys' vibe and melody together is always killer, especially
Thank
with
you.
that Happy Place joint.
Yeah,
Um,
I appreciate that. That's another guy who, I mean, I've seen a lot of guys go from just like never even recording a song in their life to like being household names. And the one thing that they all have in common is just like the hunger. Just they're so passionate that it's annoying. And he annoyed the shit out of me because Tyler would call me five times a day. When are we recording next? When are we recording next? I need to record. I'm in Verizon right now. I just wrote 5 new songs. So
oh
because
my
he
god.
worked at Verizon before he blew up. So but yeah, Tyler, I mean, me and Tyler, our backstory was we were on an MTV show together, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, we were on an MTV show together called Are You the One? And we were both just like kind of like the weird outcasts, I guess. Like we got friend zoned by all the girls. We weren't like the alpha males that the girls were going for, but that's like the birth of Ty Verdes, the artist, because it gave us so much. None of the girls wanted to talk to us, so it gave us so much time. We were like just trapped in this house for a month, and like girls didn't want to talk to us. A lot of the dudes didn't like us, so we literally just he brought it. One of the production assistants had a ukulele, so we would just like he would play the ukulele and we would just write music. We would freestyle, and he like saw me freestyle that first night, and he was like, I want to know everything you know. Take me under your wing." That's basically what he said, and then it carried over to after the show, and we were just like we recorded so much. I mean, we have so many unreleased songs that, you know, if I were shady, I would just put him out right now and be like, EMoney featuring Ty Verdes, or Ty Verdes featuring EMoney. But then his record label would probably sue me. So
Who did you end up getting signed with?
he's right now he was signed with Arista Records, which I think is under Universal or Sony or one of those. But now he's in between. Now I think he's going to get signed because he did the deal. It was a 3 album deal, so he's on album 3 right now. And once he releases the third album, then he's a free agent, and who knows who he'll get swooped up by. I always thought he should have been independent the entire way, but
I
you
mean,
know,
that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays. I mean, recently I just had on the CEO of We the Family independent music label, and
cool,
I'm having his artists consistently on the podcast and everything, trying to give them
nice,
exposure and stuff. But that's pretty much the people that I've been trying to reach out to a lot, is these independent artists and stuff like that, because
cool,
one, you guys don't get, well, even 1 millionth of the credit that you guys deserve for all, because people think that putting out content is easy and stuff like that. It really fucking isn't. It's
oh,
a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and edits and doing all that shit is fucking annoying and time consuming.
yeah,
And you guys go beyond, especially I didn't ask you before, but do you do your own beats, or do you have
yeah.
like a producer? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, right now I do literally everything on my own. I mean, um, I have a few guys that I work with who play guitar. The best thing is like, because I can make beats, I can mix my own songs, but like one thing I can't do is like play guitar really well. I can play keys okay, but like I think the most valuable thing right now in the music industry is guitar players, like people who can take your idea, or they could just hear your like vocal melody and just play a guitar lead over it or play rhythm guitar over it. So like that's what I do. I don't pay money for people to produce my songs, but I will pay money for someone to just sit and record their guitar for like 30 minutes. And then I'll just like take bits and pieces and just kind of produce it together. So, but yeah, like right now, like you said, it's all like album artwork, which my album artwork's trash, but oh well. Album artwork.
It's not bad. I mean, I've seen way worse. All right, man. I've seen way worse. Is the album cover the one of the most recent song that you posted up on YouTube?
Yeah, that one. I mean, yeah, the one I did a few days ago is just a screenshot of me the last time I ever dunked, which is like
Oh,
4
okay.
years ago. Yeah, and then it's just easy. You just go on Photoshop, add some text to it. And yeah, I don't think like album artwork makes or breaks the success of a song. Like Tyler's song
No.
that blew up, "Stuck in the Middle," the first song that blew up on TikTok. His album artwork was just like a selfie of him behind some roses, or yeah, he just
Right.
tripod and took a photo on his phone with like some roses in the background. So, yeah, you don't really need to hire a like a graphic designer and pay him $250 for album artwork anymore.
Uh, so speaking of like other artists though, what like so out of like all your experience, out of like all your years of doing music and stuff like that, who is your like let's say top three people that you've had the chance to share the stage with?
Oh man, good question. I would say, making music, when you make a song with someone and you guys are both just like mentally connected, and your two brains feel like one brain. It feels like sometimes when I'm in the studio with someone and we have chemistry, it feels like we're sharing a screen. Our brains are like sharing a screen, and everything that's going on in my brain, he can see, he can visualize, and vice versa. And the way that happens is you have to start a relationship. So like I've been in the studio with people who on paper you'd think we'd make a great song together, but then it's just awkward as shit because we don't know each other and we don't know like how to communicate. We don't know really how to speak their creative language. So my favorite person to make music with is Catalyst from Team Backpack, because we
Catalyst
go
is
back
mad good.
10, he's amazing, and we go back 10, 12 years. Like we've had nights where we just, stay on the phone, talk for 3 hours, pull all-nighters, just talking, becoming, building our friendship. So that's how I would rather make a song with a guy who is inexperienced, but we have a great relationship versus like, someone who is more established, but I don't really know him that well. So yeah, so I would say Catalyst is definitely number one. He's my favorite guy because just like being in the studio with him, he's so excited, and he's just like he has an infinite amount of ideas and he's not afraid to fail, and like he's just a guy that like on the spot he can come up with amazing shit. He can write a verse in record time, so him, who else do I love? Who else do I love making music with? I gotta say Tyler number two, because Tyler is a guy who just gets so freaking. He's like the opposite of me, because I'll like throw something out there and I'll be like, oh no, that sucks. But then Tyler, if I throw something out there and Tyler likes it, he will be screaming, hugging me like we just won the championship. He's like, "That's so fucking dope! Play that right now." He's like he's like that motivator that you need in the studio. He just gets so excited, and every time, even now, like Tyler's got all this money and success, we still like write songs together, and it's still the same guy, the same energy that he brought to those songs in 2018 when he had zero fans versus now. He still gets as excited. So Tyler's number two, and then who's the third? Who's the sleeper pick that I want to put in? Oh, easy. No Limit Creation. He's a guy who made the beat for Happy Place. He's the reason
Oh
why
wow.
sounds the way it does. And this guy is just the best guitar player I've met. Whatever you want, whatever vision you have in your head musically, this guy will make it happen, and he'll make it 10 times better. So just as a producer, a songwriter, he has perfect pitch. So he's the kind of guy that he'll know exactly a song's key when I send it to him. He'll know the key. I sent him all my stuff, and he's like, "Hey, just so you know, you played the wrong bass note 33 seconds, and it should have been an A sharp instead of a. So he's
Right.
so it's those three guys are like the guys I've had the most fun with making music.
That's awesome. I mean, all of those guys are phenomenal. I've heard of all of them, and
Yeah,
well, Catalyst is probably my favorite out of all three of them. But yeah,
yeah.
Catalyst is dope. And with like music and everything, is music your like full time gig, or do you have like another side job or whatever?
Yeah, music, like for the last few years, it's been paying like a cool side gig. Like it pays, it pays my student loans, which is
Right.
ironic because going to college just was a waste. But um, No, my full time job is I work in reality TV casting actually. So like I find talent for different reality TV shows. I interview them just like you're interviewing me. I interview them, try to get sound bites from them, and then just like pitch the best people to the networks like NBC, AB, any network you can think of. I probably cast a show for them. ABC,
So
NBC, Fox.
how'd you get into that?
Rapping, as crazy as it sounds.
Wow.
Career got me into casting because when I first moved to LA, I was broke. I didn't know how I was going to pay the bills down here. I was like getting coffee on set. I was doing the most degrading work possible, which that's what you do when you first move to a city like LA. You degrade yourself for the first year. And then like 5 months in, there was a posting that my friend sent me, and they're like, we need casting people for this MTV show it's rappers and singers. So anyone who has like a big network of rappers, please apply. So then I applied. I didn't even know reality TV casting was a job. I just thought people magically appeared on the screen and there was no one actually selecting people,
Yeah, I thought there was like an application or something like that they did online or something like that.
Yeah. Well, most of the people, most like 80% of talent for reality TV shows don't apply online. People like me find them, research, DM them on Instagram, get them on the phone, and have to sell them on. And I basically work in the business of selling people. Like I sell an idea to people for a reality show, and then I sell that person to the network when I pitch them, and then that's how shows are cast. So yeah, 2016 in the interview, they brought me in for the interview for the show that didn't, it ended up being on VH1. And I basically said, look, I don't know anything about reality TV casting, but I know everything about underground rappers, and I can get you every rapper you could ever imagine thanks to Team Backpack. Like I have my network, thanks to Team Backpack, is what you need. So I went in went in that and they were like, they gave me the job pretty much on the spot. And in that job, here we are 25, 30 shows later. It's been a pretty cool career for me. It's not my dream, but it's also not it's not a shitty job that I hate going to every day.
Right. I mean, that's important too. I mean, especially nowadays, a lot of people do shit that they don't want to do every day.
Right. Exactly.
And with the reality shows, like what's the most like popping off one that you've done or that you've casted for?
Oh man, my favorite, I don't know if this is the most poppin'. It's pretty popular. It's definitely my favorite one, and it's a show that I've changed the most lives. I enjoy. It's called Hell's Kitchen on Fox with Gordon Ramsay, where like I just look for chefs. So it's the one where Gordon Ramsay.
Hold the fuck up for a second. Hold the fuck up. Are you fucking with me? Or are you being serious right now?
God, I've cast 4 seasons of Hell's Kitchen. I found the winner of season.
What fucking seasons? What seasons? I need to know.
Seasons 21, 22, and then 23, 24. 23 is about to drop in September, and then 24 is coming out the year after. So, so I started, the first season aired in 2022, I think. But yeah, it's so much fun because it's a show that chefs are like fighting for. Chefs really want to be on the show. And so it's not like I have to sell anyone on this idea. It's like, it's basically like telling a basketball player, like, hey, do you want to audition for a show where you get to like be in the gym with LeBron James for a month? Because that's Gordon Ramsay. Right. LeBron James, he's the Michael Jordan of cooking. So
what amazes me about some of the people that end up on that show, because I watch Hell's Kitchen religiously. I watch everything Gordon Ramsay does. Yeah, I love Gordon Ramsay. So that's actually crazy that's what you cast. But some of the people that hop on that show, like for instance, that Nicole girl, okay?
Okay. Yeah,
so there's plenty of people that hop on that show that you would think that they would have watched, I don't know, a few seasons of the show that they're going to be on. But some of these people act like they've never seen the show. So when things like the certain like competitions and stuff that they do every single season comes up and they're like, what? And I'm just like, I just can't believe it, dude. But you said
a lot of people don't watch the show who go on the show. Yeah. And
I can't believe that.
the tough thing with the casting process of Hell's Kitchen is like we just have to believe them in their interview. Like with any TV show, especially a show like Hell's Kitchen, like half of the battle is, do you have a like engaging personality? Are you going to be fun to watch on TV? You could be the best chef in the world, but if you talk like this in your interview, we're not going to put you on the show. So half of it is your personality, and then half of it is your skills. And then if someone has an insane personality, then sometimes we'll like let not the best skills fly. And also there have been people that like didn't have much kitchen experience at all, but they were just such quick learners that like the first few services they get their ass kicked, you see it, and then by the end they're just like the most improved, and then they get a black jacket. So like on season 22, like most of the people who got black jackets had very little kitchen experience. I mean, Demir, who's my favorite guy that I've ever probably interviewed. I love that dude, the guy from Philly, who I thought he should have made top 2, top 3. I think a lot of people thought he unfairly got eliminated. But yeah, I love how this has just turned into a Hell's. We could talk about Hell's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but then you see those, and you see the guy, but it's not like we don't put people on the show just because we know they're going to fail. Like maybe old school Hell's Kitchen, but these days, like we talk to the network execs, like they want real talented people who aren't gonna, who like, have worked in kitchens before, either that or, people who are super hungry to work with Gordon Ramsay. So, but sometimes, I mean, it's just, if you put 22 people on the show, a few people are gonna, the moment might be too big for them. And I give so much credit to the chefs who do Hell's Kitchen, because it's not a lot of sleep, it's dire circumstances, and you have the best chef in the world screaming at you, and you're not only cooking to impress Gordon Ramsay, but you're impressing millions of viewers at home. So like anyone who has the balls to go on Hell's Kitchen, I have so much respect for. So yeah.
Yeah, me too. Heavily. I mean, especially because I don't even know, because I mean they don't give you any time reference of how long they're actually there or stuff like that. You just kind of like guessing. I'm guessing they're probably there maybe like a week or so, or probably 2 weeks or something like that.
If you're there for the entire time, it's like a month. Yeah,
okay.
That's usually like one season of a full TV show will go a month. And then I think each like 2-3 days is an episode. So
okay.
Yeah, I think it's actually 2 days is one episode, and then so each week there's 3 episodes, and then you get 1 day where these guys are just like in the hotel room or in their room just catching up on sleep because it's that exhausting. Wow.
So wait, so 2024 season you helped cast, correct?
So the season that's about to come out, I helped cast, yeah.
Or no, so this would be the previous season then, I'm guessing. Because so like within the last 2 or like 3 seasons, there was a dude, and I think it was the Young Guns one.
Oh yeah,
possibly.
I didn't. That was the last one. I didn't cast that one, but I know all those guys because I interviewed a lot of them for what we thought was going to be an all-star season, which it ended up getting scrapped, but it will happen in the future, hopefully. So yeah.
So there was one kid on there that had the balls to bring a meat thermometer.
Oh my!
I don't know if you remember that, and I wanted to know if you were the one who interviewed him, because I was like,
no, I didn't even know about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, he got caught in the, like, it was like the first like couple episodes or whatever. He got caught with a meat thermometer, and like, if that doesn't end your career as a cook, I mean, I don't know what will. But like that definitely finished him in that industry. After that,
no, I mean, yeah, a lot of people go on this show and they were literally on Hell's Kitchen, and then 2 years, 3 years later, they're not even chefs anymore. And it's not because of Hell's Kitchen. It's just like, cooking isn't. It's not or being a chef is a very thankless job, and a lot of people just get burnt out. Like, that is every single day is a grind when you're a chef. You don't, like, a lot of jobs you could just be like, I'm hungover today, I'm gonna just half-ass it and pretend to work. Like, you can't just pretend to work and lollygag when you're a chef. So it's just so demanding. No. And a lot of people, they do it in their early mid-20s, and then late 20s they're like, man, I need something a little bit more low-key.
Right. And like those and people think that like a lot of that shit is played up in like a five-star restaurant. I've worked at a five-star restaurant. It fucking isn't. They talk
Yeah.
and act the exact same fucking way. It's honestly insane. And
Yeah.
like when I worked at this one five-star restaurant, there was an issue where a waiter came in because there was shellfish on the plate and the person was allergic to shellfish. And he had
Wow.
told that and communicated that to the chef. And they got into a big heated battle and stuff like that. I literally thought I was on Hell's Kitchen. I was like, Jesus Christ, I didn't think this shit was real. But
Oh
Gordon
no, it
Ramsay ain't
is.
fucking around.
God, no, it's crazy, dude. And that's what I've even like in the last 3 years from like when I started casting Hell's Kitchen to now, like it's they've made leaps and bounds and like the toxic chefs are starting to get weeded out and the more like gentle chefs are now the ones like in the forefront. Like I mean back in the 90s it was just screaming, it was just verbal abuse, nothing but verbal abuse. Like the shit Anthony Bourdain wrote his book about Kitchen Confidential, which is a classic. But no, now these days, like, and that's what makes it hard because it's obviously good TV, like a chef that's gonna get on Hell's Kitchen and scream at all the people and be the villains. But like most chefs that I interview are like, look, I will get on you, but I'm also like, I lead with love and I lead with care and empathetic chefs are like the new hot chefs right now. Those are the chefs that like become executives and do damage in the industry. Like the chefs that I interview that are like, I will fucking scream at you. Those are the chefs that aren't even talented. They're really going no. These
Right.
days, back in the day, you kind of had to be that guy to get to the top. So
Yeah, it's a different world nowadays. But with Hell's Kitchen, so what have you gotten to meet Gordon Ramsay then? Or
no,
nah?
I wish, man. That's the. It's weird because like when you cast these shows, your work is on TV, but you're not on set. So Gordon Ramsay is familiar with my work. Like I found him the winner. I found him, the Ryan from season 22, the Irish guy. I just like slid into his
Right,
DM. That's
really? Dude, he is
yeah,
one of my favorite people from that show.
okay.
Because he was one of the only people that like from start to finish kept it 100. Kept
Yeah.
it said this is a competition, like I'll be friendly, but like I'm not gonna, bend over backwards for you guys. And that's one thing I respected the fuck out of that guy for.
It's funny because on my desktop right now, you know how you like clean up your desktop and you want to keep it clean. The one thing that I will always have on my desktop is my original interview or the edited interview with Ryan. I didn't interview him; I found him and booked him for my boss. But he said in his interview, he was like, "I hope you're recording this because you are talking to the next winner of Hell's Kitchen. I guarantee I'm calling my shot." He said it. I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
literally his first response when I messaged him on Instagram, he was like, "Just so you know, you found the winner. So like, congratulations!" Like he was already congratulating me, and he hadn't even gone through the first step of casting. That's how confident that dude was, and the
That must
fact
have
that
been crazy when he finally won though.
it was the best news that I've ever gotten in my career was hearing that Ryan won because A, I found him, and B, just like I have receipts now and I show people like these first people think I'm kidding when I was like, this guy was guaranteed victory and he went on there and he was one of the greatest chefs in the history of Hell's Kitchen. They already put him in top five, they're already putting him one of the top five most talented chefs. And like a lot of people when they win they're like, oh, it should have been this person was better. When Ryan won, I think everyone was like, he deserved it. There's
That
really
that was honestly a tough season towards the end because the last three honestly were really good. It was really hard to pick, but like Ryan just had that upper end. I think it was his dessert that did it, if I can't remember correctly. But
oh yeah
um but yeah but that's crazy. Hell's Kitchen. I
yeah
can't even believe that.
such a
But
show. And then
so
shows besides that, it's been like Love is Blind. That's a huge one. Obviously, I worked on a season that's not coming out this year, but next year. The Circle on Netflix. That's a big one.
Is Love Is Blind? Is that the like more Korean oriented? Like is that the Korean reality show, or is that a different one?
That's a different one.
Okay.
Love is Blind is where you like have to where you like date people through walls and you can't see what they look like, and if you want to meet them in person, you have to propose to them.
With the giant screen and they got like okay, I know what you're talking about. All right. So what and I'm not gonna knock some reality shows, but it does
Oh, you
amaze me certain ones that get created and stuff like that. Like Catfish, I get why that's still around. You know, actually, well, no, actually, I don't understand why that's still around. I don't understand how people are still getting catfish nowadays. People should know fucking better by now.
Yeah, I know. Hey, man, it happens to the best, especially if you're a lonely, horny dude, or vice versa, and an attractive person is in your DMs. I've been catfished before, hardcore. So, but that was 10 years ago. So you're right. Like now, you should know better. But like sometimes people are just that lonely and that delusional. So
That is true, especially nowadays. I mean, because
yeah,
everybody's trying to be the next social media star, whatever it might be, or whatever.
right.
Um, and so with your music, the first, I mean, just talk a little bit about like how the first song that I heard from you was the Jabba the Hutt
Nice,
freestyle.
dope.
That that shit was lit. I listened to that for like straight through weeks after I heard it, and I was showing everybody. I was like, check out this, check out this. I do that to
Uh,
pretty much every new person that I find. I'm like, check this new person out.
right.
And with that, are you so? Because last time I asked this to an artist, they were like, nah, actually, like my fans helped me write it. Are you a
Uh,
Star Wars fan or no?
um, I mean, I'm like a casual Star Wars fan. I'm not a nerd. Like if I say I'm a Star Wars fan, then the actual Star Wars fans start grilling me, and then I look like a fraud. Um, I okay, so the story behind the story behind Jabba the Hutt is actually hilarious. So I was working at a radio station at the time, sports talk radio station, and I was just like in my downtime scrolling through Facebook, and then it was like a targeted ad, and it was like life size Jabba the Hutt, $200, and this is like when I was living with my parents, so I had more disposable income, and I was really dumb with my money, so I just like bought it impulsively, and I was like, shit, I have an 8 foot tall Jabba the Hutt. I have to get my return on investment. So I was like, I'm gonna put this in my. The next song is gonna be called Jabba the Hutt, and I'm gonna put this in the video, and hopefully, it grabs people's attention. And then I ended up just doing it on a freestyle. Like I don't own the beat, but another cool thing about that song is that through Team Backpack, like we met a lot of like pretty famous Bay Area rappers. One of them being like I Am Sue, Pilo, Cool John. I don't know if you know those guys, but they were like huge in the Bay Area like party rap scene. Like these guys are legends, and we used to like when Team Backpack was popping, we used to like share the stage with them. We would collaborate with them, and we were like the underground bar spitters of the Bay, and they were like the party music people. And it was cool when we came together because we both had such different audiences. They brought the girls and the cool people. We brought like the hip hop purists, Uh,
Right.
so uh, Pilo is a very successful producer right now, and he made the beat for a song called Blue Hunteds, which was Pilo and Cool John. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
I saw Cool John came into the radio station I was working at, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I just dropped an album. Here it is." He gave me the CD, and back then my car had a CD player, so I played the CD on my way home, and I heard the instrumental for Blue Hunteds, and I was like, I could destroy this beat. So I started writing it on the way home in the car, and then I was just like, I'm gonna spit 32 bars over this, and I didn't even think it would be a song. I was like, I'm just gonna spit 32 bars over this beat, drop it as an internet freestyle. I didn't even like think I was going to put it on YouTube. It was just going to be straight to Facebook. And then like it started doing crazy on YouTube. So then I ended up putting it on Spotify, but I don't own the beat. And then I ended up making money on Spotify. So I started feeling super guilty because like at the very least, Pilo deserved 50%. So then I started hitting up
Right.
Pilo, Cool John, and I was like, yo, let's work out a deal where like you get 50% of the royalties because I feel terrible taking all of the royalties for the song that you produced. And then
Right.
he never responded to me. He's super busy. So like the more the song grew, the more like guilt, like the more shame, like ashamed of it I felt because I stole the beat, and I legally shouldn't have been making money off of it. But so many people like were listening to it on Spotify and wanted it on Spotify. So then I run into Pilo's 2019. I'm walking on Fairfax in Los Angeles, and I run into Pilo on the street, and I'm like, this is my chance. And I was so fucking nervous because I thought that like I was going to be like, hey, man, I've been making money off your songs. And I thought he was going to yell at me. I thought he was going to be like, you need to take that shit down ASAP and give me all the money you made from it. So I was like, probably more nervous than I've ever been when I ran into Pilo. And I didn't know how I was going to approach him. But like he recognized me and he saw me and he's like, what up, EMoney? And then my friend who I was with just ended up addressing the elephant in the room right away. He's just one of those guys.
As friends do.
Yeah, he just his name is Pure Powers. He's a great guy, and he just doesn't understand like awkward. He never has awkward moments with anyone. He'll just like say what everyone's thinking and feel no shame. So he goes up to Pilo and he was like, "Dude, Pilo, we were actually just talking about how EMoney like made a song to your beat." And then Pilo was like, "Yeah, I heard that shit. You killed that." So I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then he was like, yeah, we were talking about how like, you know, he wants to give you 50% of it. And I was like, yeah, so the song's making like an okay amount of money, maybe not compared to the money you're making, but like I would love to give you 50%. Like I could Venmo you right now. And he's like, dude, take all of the royalties. I don't even care. He went like this. He's like, that's all you. So basically Pilo,
he's a real one.
He is. And he rejected, I think right now he he just basically said, you killed that beat, that's yours. So that's honestly the nicest thing anyone's done for me in the rap game, because that like that helps me pay my student loans. I hope he doesn't see this and is like, wait a second, I actually want $12,000 from EMoney now. but yeah,
it's too late, Pilo. It's too late.
Exactly. I have fucking. But yeah.
But so with the music that you're coming out with, the new album, when is that gonna be coming out?
I'm thinking a new album. I mean, right now I've been making a crazy amount of music and just trying to, you know, figure out like a new direction, because like every few years I like taking my music into, you know, a new direction. I don't like trying to recreate the artist I was in 2015. So I would say like the goal is to have a project out before the year's over, like November, I would say. So
okay,
no promises, but I've got a lot of songs stacked up that I'm just like waiting to have the balls to release, you know.
Right. And so let me ask you this, with the whole new trend of country rap coming out, are you planning to pull out a country rap joint?
It's so funny you said that, because right before we got on this, I was writing a song to a country instrumental. And I'm not, this is how I'm going to approach, because country, I think a lot of people, country music has grown on them. Growing up, all everyone said is, I will listen to any genre but country. Country's whack. Now country is like mainstream. People who hated country love country. Post Malone seamlessly transitioned from the hottest rapper in the game to now he's the hottest country singer in the game, you know? So
yeah.
So many rappers are, you know, crossing over, and it's like hip hop and country have so much more in common than people give it credit for. Like country and hip hop, from a songwriting aspect, it's not, it's rapping about, it's lyrics that are true to yourself. It's not really abstract. It's like, you know, singing and rapping about your life. And that's and I think a lot of country artists and hip hop artists, have more in common than people think. So I love the fact that country and hip hop are finding a happy marriage right now in the music industry. It's exciting.
It is, especially with Shabuzi. Shabuzi has been killing it recently. My friend threw me onto him when we were at a bachelor party. He's like, throw on Shabuzi, and I was like, who's that? He's like, look him up. And then I started listening to his music, and then like his Vegas song is on it, probably one of my favorite country songs right now. And because I mean, I've heard the Tipsy song. I mean, everybody's heard the Tipsy song so many damn times now. That's the problem with radio. The only problem with radio. But I do like that he's a lot of people have been like remixing his stuff, but keeping still all of his verses right, but like mixing it with like the old song that he remixed or whatever, and throwing that in there. I thought that was really cool. But but yeah, so um, with because I do have another question that I did really want to ask you. So with because I did ask you about the country rap and stuff like that. With the way music is going now and stuff like that, and people are more easy or it's easier to get your shit out there and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
what is a well, I wouldn't say stepping stone, but like a good thing to tell people that are trying to do the same thing that you're doing to help them make their way or try and navigate this tough world of entertainment and music.
Oh, like just like advice on how to get your music out there and stuff.
Yeah, like yeah, just in general. Because I mean, everybody posts on Spotify, and they post their music on SoundCloud and stuff like that. But not a lot of people are able to get the right type of pull and
Yeah.
drag towards their channels and shit like that.
I mean, it all starts with a really good song, and it's like the most important thing is your writing a good song. If you wrote a great song and you shared it with your friends and it's undeniably good, um, it will, the rest will kind of fall into place. And yeah, creating content and marketing yourself is very important, but it's 10 times, a million times easier marketing a song that people like when they first hear it. I think too many people, and I'm guilty of this too many people get caught up in how am I going to market the song versus how am I going to make a really good song. So it all,
Right.
from the beginning of time, and this will never change, good music will always win. um, I've seen people, they're incredible. There's a lot of people who find like Connor Price, Nick D, these guys are like, they can write a handbook on how to market your music. And but like if they didn't have amazing music, and if their music didn't slap, all these skits would be for nothing that they're doing. So it always
That is
starts
true.
with writing a really good song, paying a lot of attention to detail, like taking your time with your music. Like a lot of people just like, they spend 5% of the time on actually writing the song and 95% of the time marketing the song. And yeah, maybe you could have a couple things blow up, but there's no staying power in that. So I just always try to like focus on the music first, and then if I know the song is picking up a little organic traction, that's when like boom, that's when the marketing comes out, that's when the skits come out, that's when let's get like really creative visuals here. So that's like the advice I have is just get just focus on your writing, become a better songwriter every day, and the rest will fall into place. I still believe that. That might be a contrarian belief these days. A lot of people will tell you it's all about marketing. Any song can blow up if you market it right, and I just don't really subscribe to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's things, there's songs that will go viral no matter what, especially
Mhm.
like, but doesn't mean viral. I think viral also gets mixed up with being good in a
Right.
lot of the sense because
Totally.
just because some people, a lot of people, or it fits the algorithm in the right, correct way where it's just hitting a bunch of people at the right time. I mean, sometimes that's just a lot of luck and stuff like that. It's a lot of trial and error with this shit.
Yeah. 100%.
And so when you went to college, did you go to college for music or was it for something
Um,
else?
no, I went to college for radio, television. I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. Um, so I wanted to like work in sports, and like I'm a huge sports fan. See the Oakland A's wearing
I do.
Warriors shirts right now. So yeah, I wanted to do that, and then I realized that was even more competitive than music, and I was way more passionate about music than I was in class with dudes who would read Sports Center. They would read an episode of like a Sports Center magazine from 1994 just in their spare time from front to back, and these guys eat, lived, breathed sports, nothing but it. And I love sports, but I will never love sports as much as them. One guy who's got a good job
Right.
in sports, he even told me, he was like, I would rather watch Sports Center than have sex with the hottest girl in the world. And that was the moment I knew that I will never make it in this industry, because if that's how passionate
Jeez.
you could be, then count
That
me.
that's a
Yeah,
big statement there.
seriously, seriously.
uh,
So because like everyone wants to work in sports, how cool of a job would that? Everyone watches sports casually, so to get paid to watch sports, it sounds like the coolest job, but it's also the most competitive job like in the world. It's
well,
insane.
yeah, I mean, because people think that the sports center like commentators or the people that do the talk shows and stuff like that. They just show up and start talking because they know sports already. It's like, no, the
Yeah.
amount of research and shit
Yeah.
that they look in
Exactly.
statistics and stuff like that, it would fry my fucking brain.
Oh,
Um,
and now they know about the contracts. They know how much money each player. They know the business side of sports. You have to know all that. Like it's not just knowing the stats, and it's not just like, Brock Purdy, Mr. Receiver there. Let's break down that. It's like, no, let's break down Brock Purdy's contract. Let's break down
right.
the 49ers salary cap. And this is shit that's just like way over my head. So, but it's cool. There's a dude I went to college with who wasn't even the best student. He would cut class a lot, but he was so passionate about sports. And now he's like a huge name in the Bay Area sports media. He goes by the name of Bonte Hill. He does the Warriors pre and post game. He's got a huge, radio
Awesome.
show out there. So like, yeah, it's just great seeing, like, I've seen so many people just, just have nothing but a dollar and a dream and turn into stars.
Right.
So,
And so you're originally from San Francisco?
I'm from Sonoma, which is an hour north of San Francisco, the wine country, just a suburban small town.
I got you. And so with so you already mentioned the 49ers. I'm guessing 49ers are your NFL team.
Yeah. No. Whoa, no, it's the Raiders. But the Niners were like the big,
Okay.
it's A's, Raiders, Warriors. So all three of my teams will have left Oakland starting next year. So, but yeah, it's because back then when I was in college, all three of my teams played in the same parking lot. It was, Oracle Arena, Oakland Coliseum, and now starting next year, that's just going to be an empty parking lot, which sucks.
Yeah, wait, they're moving to Las Vegas, right?
So the Raiders already moved to Las Vegas, and then the A's
Right.
are going to be allegedly they're going to be in Sacramento for 3 years, while the stadium in Las Vegas gets built, and then the Warriors moved to San Francisco. They moved to the Pier, so
wow,
it's a bummer.
So, because well, you being in that area though, you've seen a lot of championship fucking nights and stuff like that in cities. Which unfortunately, being in Syracuse, the only time that we got that was when I was super little and we won the championship. But I don't remember shit when that happened.
With Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, that's the one. It's the one shining star that we got from Syracuse. That, and then for football, we got our Dwight Freeney for the Colts, who's now retired, and Joe Brown and fucking Ernie Davis and shit. But other than those, we don't really got any big names over here. But speaking on those like the big championship nights, like how crazy does it get? Like the first time that the Golden State Warriors won the championship, how crazy was that?
God, it was one of the best nights of my life, because I grew up, the Warriors sucked my whole life, which was actually awesome because it was cheap to go to the games. Like when I was in college, I was broke as shit like everyone is in college, but I bought 12 tickets for $24 and brought all my friends. I was like, this one's on me. We got nosebleed seats to the Warriors.
24 in total or 24 per ticket?
It was $2 per ticket. I swear to God, $2 per ticket. Not even kidding.
And how were they, like how close were they?
This was 2012. And this was the first year they ended up making the playoffs that year. That was the first year Steph Curry kind of came into his own. And yeah, but like this was early in the season, so no one thought they were going to be good. But like we saw them and we were like, wait a second, this team's actually fucking amazing. And that was Draymond Green's rookie year, Clay's second year, and Steph's fourth year. And but watching them get good. I mean, I'm lucky enough I spent some time with Steph Curry. He follows me on Instagram, subtle flex. I interviewed his wife at for a startup that I was working for. Got to spend some time with Steph Curry. And when I tell you, he is the nicest, forget star athlete he is the nicest human that I've ever met. Like we were just chatting and I was like starstruck and he was just like,
I can only imagine.
He's asking me questions about my life. He watched the Team Backpack Cypher and he was like, this is amazing. Y'all got to see this shit. Like he was watching a Team Backpack Cypher with EMoney. While he was watching it, someone came up to ask for an autograph and he was like, give me 1 second. This is amazing, right? He like wouldn't take his eyes off of the screen, and it was a Team Backpack Cypher. And then he ended up following me on Instagram. Like he is such that's what, and it's weird when I see him sometimes, like when he's like dropping 50 points and he's talking shit and he's doing the night. I'm like, him as a
Right.
competitor is way different from than him as a person, because he is the softest, most gentle, nice to every person. I mean, nice to everyone. Like, such a great human, man. So it was just really cool because I had met Steph Curry before they won the championship. So watching all these amazing things happen to him, it just made me that much more invested in his career, like knowing how cool of a guy he is.
I mean, yeah, especially being able to see him when he first got there, and
Oh
especially
my
for how
god.
cheap, bro, and then seeing where he is now. I mean, well, because well, I mean, everyone can say this. He's definitely probably one, if not the best shooter in basketball
Oh,
history.
yeah, that's not even a question.
I would say in their prime though, I would say Reggie Miller and him. There could be a toss up, but
Okay.
that's a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
But uh but yeah, like my team is Orlando Magic, so
Oh,
I know how you feel about the whole not being good for a while, because we were good for a little bit, and then we, after Hito Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis and Jameer Nelson and all them, and Dwight Howard left and had his self discovery, and then he went to Taiwan. Um, yeah, now but now that they finally because Pinchero is starting to finally come into his own. He's starting to finally
yeah.
develop as a fucking as an actual NBA star, which is nice
Yeah.
because we haven't had like an actual person that like stood out amongst like the starting five in a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we had Vucevic for a while, or Vucevic, however you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an amazing center too. I was actually really pissed when they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. But with with sports and you being so into sports, did you play sports growing up?
Oh yeah, football, basketball, baseball, track and field, three sport
Oh,
varsity.
jeez.
Yeah, yeah, three sport varsity athlete, which isn't saying much. My league wasn't very competitive, but no, it was, yeah. That was like my entire life growing up with sports, and then I discovered music, kind of like when I was 13. Got really serious like in high school, so then I was just kind of like I cared more about music, but I was still, doing my thing on the court. Basketball was like my best sport growing up, and yeah, no, it was always like, and I still there's a basketball. I live in a cul-de-sac, and there's a basketball hoop out there, and we go shoot. We play every day almost. So like basketball and rapping are the two things that like whenever I'm doing them, it feels like nothing else matters, and they've been there for me during the toughest times. So um, yeah, like I love both of those things equally.
I feel the same way about basketball. I played basketball all throughout growing up and stuff like that.
Nice.
I was gonna ask you, did you play with anybody that's now in the league growing up?
Definitely not. I don't think anyone's ever even played in college uh, from my. I mean, I'm sure I played against people that were in the league. But no, like no one even like the furthest people got that I played with. Like there were a few guys who were getting looks in baseball. We had some great baseball players at my school, and then football. A few guys played like I don't know D1 AA or like for the junior college, but the train for most people the train ended. Like no one ever viewed sports as something that would pay the bills.
So the reason I asked is because I recently, like within the last like month, I got an ESPN alert about do you know well, Jim Boeheim, the old Syracuse
Of
coach?
course, yeah.
His son Buddy Boeheim, that was on the team and went to the NBA, got released.
Okay.
So I got that alert or whatever, and I saw that, and I was like, that's just solidification that you should have never been there, because I played you back in
Wow.
high school, and you were fucking terrible. Like
What?
I played, so I played in this league. It was a weird league where we played against high school teams when we weren't a high school.
Yeah.
So it was like out like 30 minutes away from here at some community center or whatever, and
Yeah.
we played Mexico, CNS, and like a bunch of other high schools. One of the high schools was his high school,
Oh
and
shit.
he played, and he was a guard, I was a guard, so me and him guarded each other all game. When I tell you that this man shot, I want to say probably 15 threes and airballed 12 of them, um,
No.
I promise you.
This
So when I
NBA
when I
has
saw
some.
when I saw his fucking well when I saw him on the goddamn team for playing, I was like, well, one, I know for a fact that this is what's that word for enabling when you have a person that's related to you working with you.
Nepotism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's no way he would have been playing for any other team if it was not his father's team. And the fact that he made it to the NBA blows my mind. It means that Jim Boeheim was I feel like definitely pulling some fucking strings
That's
because,
crazy. I had
yeah,
no idea that his son made the NBA.
I didn't know that either until I saw that he got released, and then it made me even piss more. And I was like, I can't even believe that because growing up, I played with so many better kids growing
Yeah.
up that honestly I thought would have went and played in the NBA. Two kids specifically because they were well, his brother was 7 foot something, and then he was like 6'8" in like the eighth grade.
Wow.
um and they could like dunk it at like eighth grade and like ninth grade. It was fucking insane, but I thought they were gonna go pro, but they didn't end up going pro. Let me get off that rant of those fuckers.
And
Let me
that's
continue. So with with university, because I did when I was listening to one of your songs, I
yeah.
noticed that you did mention the fact that you went to university but didn't get a degree because you didn't pay a fee.
Oh yeah. Good
So what's
research.
that bullshit?
So oh man. Basically, when you like we you take a lab class, there's like a mandatory lab class, and we're already paying thousands of dollars, and we're putting ourselves in debt for years just to go to
Right.
this college that just didn't give a shit about its students. Like I loved like the people I met at SF State, but like the education system, I was very underwhelmed by, to say the least. But there's one lab class where they were like, on top of all the money we're paying, they make you pay like a $50 lab fee, and I'm like, and even though I could have paid it, it was the principal. I was like, I'm not paying this shit. So then I was able, like, I had all the credits and I walked at graduation. And then they emailed me. They're like, we can't like give you your degree until you pay this lab fee. It's like, I think it was like $30, and I just ghosted them. So I did all that work, and I don't have an actual degree from San Francisco State because I didn't pay the lab fee, and I still can. I think I can get it whenever I want to, but I just don't. I just want to, because this is the thing. I've made a career for myself, and I
Right.
never been asked. Every job application, they're like, "Did you graduate college?" I say yes. They've never asked to see my degree, which means I could have just not gone to college and lied about it this entire time.
Dude, that's what I try to tell my wife because so she's working on getting her citizenship because she's originally from Honduras.
Oh,
And
cool.
she so when she's like looking at jobs and stuff like that, she's like, I don't really know what to put on my resume and stuff. And I'm like, just literally like say random shit. Like they're like a lot of the times they don't fucking look at this shit. Like
No,
especially skills and stuff like that. They don't look up. They don't ask. Like I can promise you that no one's ever asked or called my high school and been like, did he actually graduate high school? Like no, they didn't
exactly.
do that.
Right.
And it's a lot. I would say because, like, for instance, what I do for a job is sales, and
Cool.
sales is one thing. Like, I did, I went to college for a little bit, but I
Oh,
stopped after like a semester and a half because I realized that, well, one, sales, you don't need to have a degree.
yeah,
Two,
exactly.
a lot of people that get degrees still don't end up on their feet. And then three, even with that degree, a lot of people don't know what they're doing in the field that they got the degree in.
Oh,
Because experience is key when it comes to things. That's why, like for you, like your experience is way more important than what a degree or a piece of paper says. You know?
seriously. All people, the only reason people would want to see that you went to college is just that, like, you can finish what you started. They just want to see that you have follow through. But most of the time, no one gives a shit. Like, people would rather see that you worked for a cool company for 1 week, 1 year, than went to like a nice school, a nice college. Another good thing with college is like you expand your network. Like the other day, I had a guy reach out to me who's like, "Hey, if you need a job here, I got you. And he was like a friend from college. So it's like, yeah, it's okay for networking, but for the most part, like if you don't know what you want to do, or that's the thing. My friend has a really good job, and he did computer science in college. Now that was a really smart degree because you will get hired and you will get paid a lot of money, like knowing how to code. But like for my job, they had us they had VHS cameras for us to run, and they had us edit on like iMovie. They
Yeah,
didn't
I
teach.
was gonna say back in the day, editing must have been a bitch, dude, especially for school.
Yeah, I mean, it was. They didn't teach us. They didn't teach us real skills that like we could apply that we could apply in the real life. They didn't even teach us how to do taxes, how to, cook from home,
I
how to.
know, man. What's up with this no teaching about taxes shit?
For,
They end up getting people in trouble later on in life with these fucking taxes, for
I
real.
know, dude. I know. I mean, it's all set up. They just want us to have. They don't want us to have practical skills just so like the rich can get richer and we can, you know, the less knowledge we have, the richer the people at the top can get. So thank
That's
God for the
very true.
because you could research anything. You could learn more in 2 months just like putting your head down, staring at a computer screen than you would have, 4 years in college when you're partying and you're hungover all the time. So, you know,
Right. And especially with AI now. I mean, speaking about
yeah.
like AI, like with music and stuff like that, how have you like dabbled in using it at all, or checking it out and stuff like that? Or do you think it's gonna taint the music eventually, or like what do you feel about it?
Yeah, I haven't dabbled as far as like it is scary because like I think beat makers might go extinct because you could just say like you could literally just tell an AI app, hey, I want a beat with this BPM, I want this guitar or the drums to sound like this, and it'll just make a custom beat for you. Um, and all you have to do is just fill out a quick questionnaire, and then it'll make a custom beat for you. And I still think that like no matter how good that gets, like great producers are gonna still be the highest in demand, but still the barrier to entry is just going to be so low that anyone with zero talent is going to be able to make a banger. It already is like that. So
Yeah, so like, and I was gonna say that my take on like the AI is that like, yes, I mean it's gonna make novel, music people or beginners and stuff like that a lot easier for them to get into it. But on the other hand, it's still not going to be as good because as a regular producer, because what it's going to be missing is that heart, that feel, the vibe. Like it's much different when you just have a prompt and enter it compared to somebody who's actually making it themselves, because they feel
yeah,
it deep in their bones. Because like you were saying before, when you're in the studio, when you're on the same level, it's psychologically connecting. It's a different type of sensation that you don't really know how to explain, but it's
yeah,
there.
yeah. It's magic, is what it is, and I don't think AI will ever be able to create magic. And like the imperfections of a song, things you do by accident, things that like you thought you fucked up, but it actually sounds amazing. Like that's what makes a song beautiful. And I don't think AI is gonna ever, well, I hope not ever master like the beauty of the
Right.
imperfections. So, but I mean, I use AI. I mean, I produce on Logic, and you could literally like you could have like a guitar loop, and then Logic can just make a bass line for you. You don't
Oh,
have
really?
to, you don't have to play it on your keys. You can just so that's something. But even then, it's not a good bass line. Like it doesn't have your personality, and like your fans, they listen to your music because they want your voice and they want the decisions you made on the song. They don't want the decisions a robot made. So I don't think AI is ever gonna you know take over music, but it is scary to see like people are recreating Drake songs. People are new Drake songs
Yeah.
dropped and it sounds like him. It sounds like a Drake song. So, and if it's that good already, who knows where it's going to be in 5 years? It's kind of scary.
Yeah,
But
actually, speaking of Drake, did you see his clapback against Kendrick?
oh, did he do one recently?
Yep.
No way.
He
Oh, I can't believe I didn't see this. What happened?
uh he does. I mean, it's not. So me personally, I don't like Drake on a person like on a music level. Like I used to like him. I liked his earlier stuff, and that's what a lot of big artists that are like huge names now are like. Like for instance, like Taylor Swift. Like I liked her stuff back in the beginning and stuff like that. I don't like her electronic, more adaptive crap that she's coming out with and stuff,
Yeah,
trying to appeal to a bigger crowd.
totally.
Um, and same thing with him. It's just
Yeah.
in the beginning it was so much better, and it was so random because you knew him as Drake from fucking Degrassi, and then all of a sudden he could rap, and
Yeah.
then you were like, okay, this guy's actually can spit. But
Yeah.
then when he started to get into the more R&B style, like viral type of like nest area, it got worse. And then that's where, I mean, a lot of his issues that came into fruition in the song that Kendrick came out with came to be and stuff like that. Plus, a lot of his songs nowadays, when you listen back to it and stuff like that, there are some things where you're like, that might not have been right to say there and stuff like that, like some iffy stuff, especially around ages and shit.
Dude,
But he
yeah.
did good for him for a clapback. Like it's definitely sounds a little more like old Drake.
What's this? How
But
long ago did it drop?
let me see. It dropped.
'Cause I thought the beef ended a few months ago. I didn't know.
Because I just saw it the other day. No, this isn't it, is it? No. I'm gonna find it real quick. He might have taken it down.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
rough.
because I saw I'm gonna be honest, I only saw it through like a short clip on like TikTok or whatever. It was like a clip from like the music video of, or well, whatever. It wasn't like a music video that he was in, but like it was like one of those music videos where they just take like a city drive and just film the city and shit like that as they're going
Oh
by and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And they but yeah, but it was okay. I still think Kendrick won in the initial
yeah,
fight to begin with.
yeah. I mean,
And
there's nothing Drake can do that will change most people's minds. Like Kendrick,
yeah,
with
he
just Not
just
Like Us. I mean, you look at the numbers of Not Like Us, and that's the thing. Like what Drake's always had over Kendrick is look at the numbers. I got more charting songs, but like if you look at the numbers of Not Like Us versus, I think Not Like Us like doubled the numbers that Drake's biggest song in that feud had. So
well, yeah, because I mean, I would not say majority, but I would say a good percentage of Drake's fan base is purely girls. And when the smaller side of guys heard the Kendrick diss, they were like, all right, I'm switching back
yeah,
to Kendrick and listening to more of him and stuff like that. Because yeah, I mean, I'll agree, Kendrick. He didn't fall off, but like he fell behind the background a little bit with like just in the public and stuff like that. Like but he also isn't, doing interviews here and there and shit like
no,
that. He's not showing his family as much as stuff like he's living his life, but also creating music at the same time. He's very similar in that aspect with J. Cole. That's why I respect and like J. Cole so much, because he sticks to himself, he sticks to his family, sticks to the people that he knows, and then
yeah,
just makes killer music.
seriously, and that's what like that's the biggest flex in the world, that like you could still be one of the hottest rappers and not have to go on crazy press tours, not have to post memes all the time, not have to be on SNL every other week. Like Kendrick
Right.
Lamar, Kendrick Lamar is that guy, and I think it cheapens Drake's brand how much he's like he has to be out there, how much he's sitting courtside hanging with all the players, and how he has to
Oh,
like
it's killing him.
yeah, he has to insert himself. Like it distracts people from, because Drake has classic albums. Like he made the greatest mix, arguably the greatest mixtape of all time, So Far Gone. His first album was kind of a flop. Well, it just wasn't that good. But then
Right.
Take Care, one of the greatest musical pieces of all time, any
Mm-hmm.
genre. It was groundbreaking, genre bending. And then the one after that was an incredible album. And then I think every album after that was kind of like bleh. I think Drake had two like great albums, one great mixtape, and then after that, it just feels like it felt rushed and uninspired, and he just you know he
It felt
almost
like he phoned in his lyrics.
exactly, yeah, and
Yeah, I can definitely feel
it
that.
just hurt me to see like everyone knows what Drake is capable of lyrically, and then he
Right.
drops it where it just sounds like a freestyle, or like it sounds like he wrote the verses in 15 minutes, and we're all just still praising it. Yeah, it's like catchy, like one dance, and these are songs that you can dance to at the club, but like I don't think anyone. I think people are lying to themselves if they're gonna put views like in the same category as Take Care or any album he released at like Scorpion. I mean, he's had a few songs here and there. Like when
Yeah.
when NBA players like they become 33, 34, they're not the player they used to, but they still show glimpses that they can be that guy like Klay Thompson kind of does. That's
Kevin Garnett back in the day.
yeah, exactly. That's what Drake's career has been. Like he's shown glimpses that he could be that guy, but not consistently. But Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, like these are guys that just continue to. And I'm a lyricist. I like people who put who put close attention, who spend a lot of time on their lyrics, so you could tell that there's a lot of revisions going on. Like they don't waste any bars. Drake, half of his albums, he's just wasting bars. He's not saying shit that
Right.
really moves people, when that's what he was known for. Like early Drake never wasted a bar, to the point where every rapper was like, this guy just like set the bar higher for every rapper in the world, because Drake's mixtape shit, it was just on. I never thought a rap I would be that blown away by like someone's lyricism, but it was just perfect. Like since Eminem, I remember Eminem in the early 2000s, I was like, this guy just rewrote the book on how to rap. And then I felt the same way about Drake in '09. I'm not kidding. Like Drake, the flow, the lyricism, his delivery, the punchlines, and then his ability to sing. I don't think anyone will ever see an artist do what Drake did in that time. So we got to
No.
give him his flowers, but it just sucks that like now people know Drake is like arguably maybe a pedophile. I don't know. I think those, there's not a lot of evidence to prove that, but just like they know him as like this,
Allegedly.
yeah, this like weirdo internet troll guy who like hit his kid and who tried too hard to stay in the limelight. It's sad because like Drake, when you look at the bodies of his body of work and his catalog, he should be up there with I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm ranting right now, but like
No, go ahead.
a lot of people are ready to put Drake in the same sentence as Michael Jackson, Prince, the Beatles, which is insane because those
I
guys would
was
never phone in an album. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
just watching something on Michael Jackson with my wife and stuff like that. Me and her were both saying to each other, we were like, there is no like a lot of bad shit was said about him,
Mhm.
and throughout the years and stuff like that. But there's one thing I honestly believe he was just the purest like of heart.
Oh
He was
yeah,
a kid in a little in a big man's body. That's what it
totally.
was. And his his talent and like just his stage
Unbelievable.
presence and shit like that, and just
Yeah.
the different acrobatic stuff that he did, or gimmicks where he brought out the case with the glove and
Yeah.
did the whole fucking just like you can't put Drake in the same wheelhouse. I mean,
Yeah.
you
It's
could
strictly because from a performance standpoint. As a performer, Michael Jackson was arguably better than he was as a recording artist, and some people call him the greatest recording artist of all time. So think about that. One of the greatest like Drake, you could say you can make an argument that he's like one of the best recording artists that we've seen. You can't make an argument that he's one of the best performers. He's not doing a court 1/10 of what Michael Jackson was doing on stage night in and night out.
and you can't. I'm surprised anybody would say that, especially when he hasn't done a Super Bowl halftime show. Like,
Right.
I mean, Prince. I mean, Michael Jackson and Prince both did. Like, you can't put them in the same ballpark. And with Drake again, I he another thing too that I've been seeing, like, well, not just him, but like a lot of famous people that are doing in it. Granted, kudos to the streamer kids and all these people that are doing the live shit and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But it's becoming too fucking much with like these famous people getting on their streams and shit like that, and these people meeting these people and stuff like that. I get there's money to be involved, but like it's the
yeah.
same thing as like the whole celebrity boxing thing now, where
Oh my
people are just doing it for a cash check and stuff like
yeah.
that. And I mean, hopefully, the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight, that's a different case. Hopefully, Mike Tyson beats the shit out of him, but we'll see what happens.
I fucking
Uh,
hope so, dude.
and are you not a Jake Paul fan?
I don't know. I mean, the guy. I think if I said that I'm a Jake Paul hater, then I'm doing exactly what he wants. He wants to be
Right.
hated because the more haters you have, the more people are talking about you. People are way more likely to talk about someone they hate than they love. So I don't really feel any way. I don't feel anything when I think about Jake Paul. I don't even like to think about him or the
As
societal implications.
right. I mean, as it should be, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, like so. And one thing that I've been seeing Drake do a lot, and I don't know if it's like because maybe his music's not doing as good and stuff like that, but he's constantly gambling and shit like that too. Like I don't
Really?
know if you've seen. I mean,
Oh,
he
like
does
the
he does live streams of, yeah, where he's gambling online and stuff like that, and like he'll lose like 1 point something million here, gain 750,000 there, and then I'm just sitting here scratching my brain, being like, well, isn't that nice that you can do that? But on the
it's
other hand, wouldn't it be better to, I don't know, put that in some kind of way of a cruelty or something like that over time? I mean, like a lot of these artists and stuff like that, that end up being business moguls. That's what they do. They take their money and they spread it into a diverse portfolio of real
yeah.
estate or whatever the fuck it might be and stuff like that. But not
I
him.
don't know,
I don't know why.
Drake's got a lot of issues, man, and Kendrick Lamar exposed them, and Kendrick Lamar even called out his gambling addiction. His he's got women problems, gambling problems. Uh, he hit his son, not hit his son. Like he was hiding his son
Right.
for a while, and he's just not. He doesn't seem like a good role model. You know.
Yeah, and the fact that he's got kids too is that's scary a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's even scary that I have kids. Because I got a
Your
I
kids.
got a yep, I got a 6-year-old
That's
daughter. She's gonna
awesome.
turn 7 in December, and then my son just turned 5 this
Wow,
past week.
that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, so most of my days are running around trying to grab them and stuff like that, and then also dealing with our 2 little kitties that we got for them that are just, well, it's my fault. I got 2 male kittens, and they're just not playing nice and shit. Like the amount of ninja fights that I have to fucking divide between, I I never knew how creatively athletic and acrobatic cats are, but holy
Yeah.
fucking shit, they're like Bruce fucking Lee, like
Oh
doing
yeah.
flips, 360s and shit. And I'm like, oh my god. And my one cat is always the one that gets injured by the other cat, and I feel so bad and shit. So I
Oh
gotta figure out
no,
something.
dude,
Yeah.
like how do you know when they're just playing versus when they're fighting?
Oh, it's actually kind of funny. So what? So my 2 cats is named Stevie and then Kuma.
Okay.
And the Stevie looks more like uh what do you want to say? A tempered, or he has more of a childish look to him. Like he looks more nice compared to my other one. My other one looks more of an adult version of him. But the one that looks more like the baby always will, like, he'll go into like tiger prowl mode, where like he'll get really low to the floor and start like watching him from afar and like
Oh
peering
yeah.
at him, and then he'll start to get close, and then the way is his back will start to twitch in the back, so
Oh yeah.
he's gonna start to get going or whatever, and then yeah, usually one of them will scream or something like that, and then that's how I know it's real. And then I
Holy.
gotta split them apart and stuff like that,
And they put them in
and keep them
separate
in different
rooms.
corners.
Wow.
Basically, yeah. It's my fault. We haven't gotten them fixed yet, so I gotta get them fixed.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Yeah, you got to do that ASAP. That'll solve all your problems. We had.
So that's what I thought. But did you know that cats still or male cats still spray even if they're cut?
Really? I had no idea.
Yep, found that out. Found that little tidbit out. I was like, so wait. I was like, so even if we get them fixed, it's not even gonna fix the damn issue of the spray. I was like, what's the point of this then? And
Yeah,
then she told me about the whole hormone thing. I was like, okay, I get it. Nah, that
yeah.
makes more sense.
They'll chill out. We rescued a cat off the street, me and my girl, and those first 2 months, it took us 2 months to even like set up an appointment to get the cat fixed because it's so many people are trying to get their cats neutered.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is getting appointments for them is a bitch and a half.
Yeah,
Because it's like the doctors or dentist office right now too. I mean, the dentist office, it takes you forever to get in there too. That's why
right.
you have to like schedule like 6 months ahead.
Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy.
but so we're getting close to the end because I only like to take people up for an hour and a half. I don't like to take
Okay.
people more than that time. I wanted to get your 2 cents on, since you're in the music industry and you're familiar with beats and stuff like that. I wanted to get your 2 cents on a beat that I made.
Yeah, play it.
All right, let me go ahead and do that. That's not the right one. That's another one, but I'll play that one in a second. This is the original one.
You know who made it.
I made this after Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico recently, and I saw these girls like flame dancing and shit like that, and they were dancing to like similar vibe music,
Yeah.
and it just made me start spinning. So I started making this.
Wow.
You know who made it.
Huh. Ooh. Yeah, man, it's dope. I was not expecting the drums to be like that. It was cool because like I heard the guitar in the beginning and I thought it was just gonna be like typical, boom bap drums or trap drums, but the fact that they were like Latin drums, that's a cool vibe, man.
So that's one thing I want to do. So one thing I like is like bongos and like really acoustic drums and stuff like that,
Oh,
especially
cool.
with that sharp guitar note. It just
Yeah.
sounds so good together.
Yeah.
And but I appreciate your 2 cents. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. What do you use to make beats? Do you use Logic?
I used Audacity or
Audacity?
Audacity, yeah.
Nice.
Because I have like a work laptop that I was issued and it had it pre-installed on there, luckily, surprisingly.
Nice.
So I've been using that. Luckily this laptop is powerful enough to run this kind of stuff. But
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I've made that, and then I made the other one that you heard before, and then I made a few more, but I don't have them on this laptop. But
Sounds
yeah,
babies, what do you plan on doing with them? Do you want to are you gonna send them out? Are you gonna like rap over them?
so well, one of the big things about this podcast is that I wanted to get to meeting more people in the music industry and just all around, like not just in rap, but all across the board. We're actually going to be having this guy Navarro that was signed to Huncho Records, but has now since left. But he's doing like a emo rap type of like Blink
So
182. It's kind of like hard to explain, but like when you listen to it, you're like, this shit's fire.
yeah,
Um, but I basically what I want to do with this podcast is try and connect more with music people. One, learn from them, and then if if they want to take music from me, go ahead. I mean, I just like to basically mix my brain with their brain and see what comes out. Which is one of the main reasons on why I came up with this podcast, because I mean, I know very little when I think I know a lot, and you get perspective when you speak to people with actual experience and knowledge in that area and stuff like that.
I mean, it's all levels to it, but like, your experience, it is important, but the most important thing is like the hunger in your drive. You can go in 6 months, you can become a platinum artist. If you
Very true.
with the hunger and the want. So that's awesome that you're doing it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could write the way that you can. I cannot. I have tried, but that is one thing. English was not my best. Were you good at English growing up? Like, was that like one of your best?
I was mainly good at math, but I was all right. I was terrible at reading, but I was good at writing, which is weird. Like my reading comprehension, I can't read and like remember what I read because my brain is like going in a million places, going
I'm
everywhere.
the same way.
My writing was like pretty good, and then my math was pretty damn impressive. So, what about you? Were you more of a math guy?
Science. Yeah, like I was originally gonna go to school for engineering, but I at the end of the day, when I realized when it comes to mechanical engineering, you have to be exactly right down to the exact decimal point, or you can cost someone their lives. It was too much anxiety for me.
Wow.
So I decided, nah, I'm not gonna do that. But I was originally trying to be like a Disney Imagineer. That was my original plan.
Wow.
Yeah, but I decided to go the different route and stuff like that. So now I'm doing my sales, the podcast, a little bit of stand-up comedy, doing some music on the side. Basically, just trying to keep myself busy.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like guys like me and you, our brains need to constantly be put to use, or else we go crazy. So
for real. But all right, so I want to just thank again EMoney for taking the time to be with us, Rawheads. You can go ahead and check him out on YouTube and Spotify, and you're on Apple Music, correct, too?
Everywhere, yeah.
Yep. So everywhere that you can possibly think of music, EMoney is there, and he'll be coming out with some new projects, hopefully in the next couple months. No promises, but stay tuned. Is there anything that you wanted to let people know about or anything like that?
Not really. We pretty much covered it all. Yeah, YouTube is a place I post a lot. EMoney music on YouTube. But I appreciate you having me. This has been a really fun conversation. So keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate it, EMoney. Again, let's give it up one more time for EMoney.
Live studio for all the studio audience that listen to the podcast live. Thank you guys.
Right. Eventually, I'll have a producer that does all that stuff, but I'm personally doing everything right now. So
yeah, you got to do it. You got to start something.
But thank you again, EMoney, and everyone at home. Remember, don't kick your sister. All right. Have a good night.
All right. See you, brother.